names up here. Hello, hello. Welcome to Men of Morpheus. This is our April live edition. I'm excited. Let me go ahead and make sure we're live on the IG. People can see us there. I'm facilitating Chris, and I want to welcome our guest Jay from Mosaic. Uh, Jay, can you tell us your pronouns real quick?
Yeah, I'm Jay. I use they, he pronouns.
All right, perfect, perfect. So a little bit about topic tonight. It is uh tonight's topic is navigating friendship through transition. I will say personally, I wanted this topic, so I think it's awesome. Uh, so Jay, you got a little shout out on IG already. Look at that. Yay. All
Yeah.
right. So how tonight go, how we usually do this, we start with definitions. So the definition that we found on the Google was friendship, a state of enduring affection, esteem, intimacy, and trust between two people. In all cultures, friendships are important relationships throughout a person's lifespan. All right, we all got shout outs. Hey, Chauncey, you got a shout out on IG. I got my shout out. Hello, hello, hello.
What's going
Good,
on?
good evening. Thank you for joining us this Sunday. Awesome
Appreciate the love.
songs. Um, so we can go around and ask, what is everybody's definition of friendship? No, don't
Did
take your
anybody just
time.
want to start singing TLC? What about your friend? I ain't gonna embarrass myself though. I ain't gonna sing it.
We
But
should
y'all
have
was
we
thinking
should
it
have
too.
we should have brought that in with the intro song if we was thinking forward enough.
Right?
All right. Oh
I'll
shoot.
go. Friendship, that's just somebody that I could just click with and just vibe out with in the most simplest of terms. Just no expectations, just vibing.
Okay.
I can go. For me, friendship is like a close bond with somebody where there's a lot of trust, there's a level of like commitment, and a level of just comfortability to where like y'all feel like you can say anything around each other and you can be yourself.
Okay. Aren't you, Chauncey?
I was sitting here thinking, friendship is it's not a difficult topic, but for me, um, I think that it's hard because I don't have a lot of friends. It's either you at an acquaintance level or you like family to me. Um, and my expectation in friendship is so heavy that I feel like it just it don't really belong in friendship. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's either we family or we just I just either I know you or you inside my fold. I don't have a lot of people that sit kind of between that area. Not that are close to me. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of definition, I mean, I don't ever expect from anybody what I'm not willing to give. You know, I expect uh, honesty, room for growth, and yeah, I think if you could do those two things, I think everything else is detail. Honesty and room for growth because we're gonna grow, we're gonna change, we're gonna have different views, same views. If you can always be honest with me and I'm always honest with you, and we can, have room for growth and to work through things, then it ain't really it's not a lot that we can't weather together because I don't have the expectation that everything I like you gonna like or everything I do you gonna do or what have you. It's just I think that's the beautiful thing about friendship. You can have somebody that's almost opposite you and be friends with them, but as long as y'all have those core concepts intact, then you know it's all good.
Okay. I don't know. For me, friendship. Y'all can hear me because I hit a button. All right, cool. So, friendship for me, my definition, it's hard. Like, I come kind of with you, Johnson. Like, for real, like, friendship is something that is hard for me because human connection is actually something that I'm not good with. Because as a child, my mom told me I don't need to have friends. I need to focus on on school. Right. So I don't feel like I ever really got the opportunity to build friendship, but uh but for me it's like either somebody close to me that I can hang out with, call on, you know, if I need to move, I can call you to help for that a little bit. Or if it's like middle of the night and I need a ride, I can call you for that. Like pretty much like you said, somebody friendly, right? Somebody that I can just walk into their house and like open up the fridge and grab me a soda or something, right? Or pop, depending on where we live. And go from that. But I feel like I have more acquaintances than I do friends, even though I won't say they're acquaintances or associates. I will call them friends, but you got to earn that title with me. Like you have to be, I don't know, I feel like that's sad to say, but you got to earn that title of friendship with me before you really get that true title of a friend, right? So that's I don't want to seem too cruel, but that's kind of like how it is for me. Like I don't know.
I don't think
Yeah,
that's cruel. I think that's real. I think a lot of people feel that way. I think that's
yeah,
a real way to feel.
yeah. Because again, because I missed our icebreaker question because that kind of helps with this definition as well. Is like, what is your longest friendship? How was your longest friendship in years, and are you still friends? And I will say, me personally, to answer that one, my longest friendship goes back to what, seventh grade in middle school. Like I can't call her my best friend, but I can call her my friend, like my one of my truest friends, right? If I was to put like a prefix before, it should be like one of my truest friends. Because there's been times in need, right? There was times she didn't watch my dog for me while we was in the process of buying a house, right? I could call her and depend on her when things and vice versa, right? When we're both in need, we know we can call each other like, for things. So like, yeah, we've been friends. She's my longest standing friend as of today. Like I know I can call her, she can call me, vice versa. Um, so yeah, who's everybody else? Like just to go around real quick, what's your longest friendship and are you still friends?
Um, oh, go ahead, X.
For me, 33 years. It'll be 30-fold come this August. We've been friends since kindergarten.
Mm,
And yes, we are still friends. Like that's my best friend, that's my family. We didn't fell out, came back together, fell out again, came back together.
that's
That's
real.
my
That's real.
homie.
That's like siblings for in my opinion. That's when you call siblings.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. And we done been through
Yeah,
everything together. So,
yeah,
and like what Chauncey was saying, we complete opposites, complete opposites. But that's my homie. It just works.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say my longest standing friendship probably been 40 years. My my sister, my not she's not my oldest sister, but the one that I was raised with, inside the home. Like we've always had a tiered relationship. She's been like a parent, a sibling, and a friend. So, but we've had a friendship all my life. You know what I'm saying? It's always been like, you know, like that. Even now, we don't talk all the time, but I can call her and we can sit and talk for hours. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, if we want to go non-familial, like non-blood familial, I have a very tight friend that I've been with since seventh grade. A person who I would have to say was the first person that really showed me that it was okay to be me, and I'm not talking about just the LGBTQ part of it. I'm talking about just as she was from Cali, and like she just had like this like roughness about her, but not like hurtful roughness, but it was just like, yo, this is me, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that gave me such a unconscious permission to begin really starting to um, piece together, you know, myself and use that as fuel. So I will always love her for that. We don't talk all the time. Matter of fact, at this point, we haven't talked in a few years. But that's my dog, 100%. You know what I mean? I will never forget her for the role that she has played in different stages in my life. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so seventh grade, how old was I in seventh grade? I was what, like 11, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'd say about 29, 30-ish years, something like
Nice.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm the odd one out. I'm the only one who ain't got no friends left from childhood. Uh, my longest friendship, I think it was about 6 or 7 years. Um, and we not friends no more either. But
Mm-hmm.
that was due to some other stuff. But yeah, my best friend right now, we've been friends for about 6 years though.
Okay.
So yeah.
Has anybody like actually like experienced? This isn't one of the questions, but made me think about it. Like with these friends, like were they there and supportive for you through your transition? Like you know, like for you, Chauncey, you said since seventh grade. Like how well did they take your transition? Your friend, you know.
Man, she's always taking me as I am, and it ain't never missed a beat. Now we weren't um really tightly aligned during that period, but she knew what was going on. And like
Mm-hmm.
I said, never missed a beat. It was never a question. I never had to ask for respect or acknowledgement or anything like that. It's just always been hands down, no question. You know what I mean? I think um in terms of actually going through my transition, like I didn't, and when we say through my, because first of all, let's be clear, like you never really stop transitioning, right? But if
Yeah.
we want to talk about like the portion of time where we began to medically transition and our bodies began to align with like what how we felt and how that affected our lives and how we were, you know, navigating and being received in this world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, During that space, man, I internalized a lot. Like people tried to be there for me, but I did a lot of internalizing, man. And that's just, you know, I'm grateful because I didn't have anybody that was close in my life that I lost because of that. And matter of fact, people got closer, or you know, they kind of got uh more protective or something. You know what I mean? And I'm so grateful for that. Um yeah, man. I mean, I didn't. I think there was a lot of people in my life where they was just like, it makes a lot of sense. This it makes a lot of sense. And I mean, even now,
Yeah.
people don't really energetically feel me as a different person because I've kind of just been this person all my life. It's just now all of the other extra stuff like
Yeah.
positioned around it. But you know, I didn't have any people that I lost because of the decisions that I made to be, you know, who I am. And I feel like actually more people had more respect for me at the end of the day. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Uh, it's real quick when you say lost. I don't know why. Real quick, I just want to say when you said lost, I automatically thought of like how I lost. I think I lost more friends when I came out as lesbian than I did when I came out as my authentic self. I will throw that out there. Like I feel like that's more true, and for my in my own personal experience actually,
mm,
which I think is interesting.
that is
Uh,
interesting.
that I've noticed too, because it's also I think it's also a period of life as well. Because like I think and when you're younger, like when we were younger, of course, coming out as lesbian or gay when you're younger in like high school and stuff is more of a bigger deal versus now as like we're full grown adults. And I feel like that might make a difference too. But like we're full grown adults coming out as who we are. So just that in itself, I feel like makes a difference. Like if people don't like us, then okay, I might have lost people in my life and then realize it because they just faded away. Because I think as adults, we're kind of accustomed to people like drifting away for a little bit and then they'll come back, drift away and come back. But they might have drifted away when I transitioned and never came back, and I didn't even notice. So that could be a thing too. And I blame a little bit of the ADHD too, but that's fine.
Yeah, you can blame it on that.
I didn't notice that they was gone. Like, wait a
Hey,
second. Where is
let's
Bob?
not forget though the people that might stick around in physical presence, but really don't really be for you. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? They really be like they still see you how they see you, and they still receive you how they want to receive you, and not how you actually are. You know
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
what I'm saying? So that's a form of loss too. That's a form of mourning that we don't talk about as well. Like when people physically exist for you, but they're not like y'all are not aligned, you know.
yeah,
And that's beyond transition. That sometimes that's just life. You know what I'm saying? That's like other things, just mindsets and goals and things like that. Sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how it is for me mostly because my transition, I'm more so take it as through my spiritual journey. Like when I came out as being lesbian, my friends, most of my family was not surprised. It was like, we was waiting for you to figure it out. Like, we was waiting on you. When I came more into my masculine side, um, the people that was still there, it was just like that's not a surprise. But then as soon as I started getting more into my spirituality and discovered like, you know what, I'm not one or the other, I'm a two spirit. And the more I started getting in alignment with my path, like what you were saying, Chauncey, that people were around, but they really weren't there. They weren't in alignment. I lost more people through my process of getting more in tune with my purpose and reason for being here than I did at any other process of changes in my life.
Yeah.
Uh, except for my best friend. it, she didn't care. It didn't matter. I could say I'm moving to Alaska. She not gonna care. She gonna be like, well, you know it's cold there, but hey, I'm all for you. We could build some igloos or something. Like,
I bought you
yeah.
this North Face.
Right.
right. I seen some gloves and I thought about you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's real though.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Chris, I would say my experience was similar to yours. Like I lost more friends coming out as a lesbian than I did when I came out as trans.
hmm,
When I came out as a lesbian, I was still hanging out with a lot of friends from childhood and high school and all that, and they wasn't really for the whole gay thing or the whole you want to be
hmm,
with women or you want to be queer, you want to do this, you want to change the way you look and like dress and stuff like that. They wasn't for all that, so I had to leave them behind. And then when I came out as trans, and when I started to like express myself more, I lost more family members than I did friends because I had already replaced my friends circle with people who supported my life and like who I was.
yeah,
So I had people in my corner that time in terms of friendship.
yeah. I could see that too. Like that's the thought that I had too. Was like I feel like it was like what said was like those who see you as who they want to see you as, and I feel that's more family, right? I feel like I personally, but it's a topic for another day. But I feel like it's more family that refuse to see me as I am, but still sees me every day,
Mm-hmm.
right? I feel like that's still a thing. More so than friendships, right? And then two, I feel, and part of me wonders if it's generational in a way, to be honest.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because
Definitely.
like Cause like our friends, they grew up with us, so they already know they kind of been in that fold, like knowing the generational thing. So I feel like that kind of like takes effect as well.
I don't know if it's generational entirely though. For at least for me, because my family, I got people in my family who like 1 or 2 years older than me who don't stand in my corner in terms of
Yeah,
being trans. Like, you my peer, and you
yeah,
still don't support my identity, and like that don't make sense to me, especially because like the person I'm thinking of, like right now at least, is also queer. So I'm
hmm
like, how you gonna be queer and transphobic at the same time? Like that don't make sense.
Oh,
that is
baby,
a whole
it
conversation we
exists.
don't want to dive
That's another
into.
show.
That is
That's another topic right there.
facts. That
Because
is that is
Pandora's
I used to have a
box.
lot of I used to have a lot of I don't want to say because first of all, I ain't never had no whole lot of friends or like I was never like the guy with a bunch of a posse or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
But I definitely felt really pushed out when it came to masculine black women, which were previously my community that I kind of found solace in before. So like studs, AGs, DOMs,
mhm,
whatever you call it, wherever you are.
mhm,
That is definitely the community that I felt the most heat from
Mm.
when it came to just like publicly existing. I remember one time walking in Pride, and this was just a few years ago, man, walking in the club and just the ice grilledness,
mhm,
and not that everybody knew who I was. Like, I mean, they don't know. Like once, and that's the thing is like once you begin to shift your physical presentation, people are gonna adjust their perception of you based on that if they don't know you personally. And I think I understood right at that moment. I was like, oh shit is different,
Mm.
But even in my personal life, it was like, like I had people trying to tell me why to and why not to get certain surgeries or even consider certain things, like, and this has happened with gay men and gay women, like both. And it's just
mhm,
wild because you presume because people are already queer that they would presume or understand, like, not necessarily all of this, but even just be open. But I think
mhm,
that's also the same thing that you would expect from black people
Right.
when black people have already tried to had their bodies policed and their existence policed. And black people, especially black men, are one of my biggest enemies right now. If they know who I am, if they don't know my story, we
mhm,
cool. But when they know my story, it's something totally different. That's where the most danger comes in, if you will. So it's it's the nuance and a nuance and a nuance and a nuance. It's layered, man. And it's very, very real that you can exist in a space where you don't feel like you have a home anywhere, even inside community. Because I feel that a lot. I feel inside a community that I can't even exist there comfortably sometimes, a lot of times.
Mm.
But again, like I said, that's another whole nother Oprah. You feel me?
Yeah.
So,
but that
yeah,
kind of, but not really. Community, because friendship is supposed to be community, right? It's supposed to be your community, right? So if you don't even feel community within your community, how can you have friends, right? That's I feel
Right.
that's just the top of my head is like in general, because that kind of like leads to the next question I have is just like, how much effect do you think society has on just the ability of having friends right now, or creating friendship and maintaining those right now? Because like how many of us really would think we could feel comfortable in, like, just because of our backgrounds, feel comfortable in lesbian spaces, but now they're no longer welcome, can make those type of friends like they used to, right? Because of who we are in societal expectations of like being a man, right?
I think
I
I'll
feel
jump on that question actually, because like the question was like, society has how does society impact your ability to make friends, right?
yeah.
I think it has a big impact. Like, at least for me, like I have the places where I have made friends have been spaces that were created for specifically for people like me. Like when I was in college, I made friends at the queer student of color group. When I grew out of college and like I made friends at work, but I also work in a queer setting. I work at an LGBT healthcare company, so I was able to meet other LGBT folks. But I also like spaces like that BTMO has created gave me the opportunity to make friends as well. So like the TMT in person support group, that's where I've made a couple of my own friends now too. So like or like being on other places where I've made friends, I've been like on queer dating apps looking specifically for friendships. So because I don't feel safe in like public settings that everyone of any background can go to, like heterosexual, like cis folks can go to too, I don't necessarily feel safe in those spaces to be trying to make friends with like whoever, because I don't know if they how they're gonna respond when they learn who I really am, you know. So like
Yeah.
I feel like society's view on trans folks and black trans folks, has impacted the way that I seek out friendship or community in a way that impacts like who my friends are. I end up surrounding myself with people who are mostly like me because I'm afraid to branch out because I don't know because of how I've been treated in the past by people who aren't like me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real. That's real. For real.
Definitely. So you was talking about like the safe space. It's like, man, I really wish miss my space would come back. Like for real. Like they have their own little private chat. That's you
Mm.
know who in there and be able to just vibe out. But yeah, society definitely plays a huge role. I completely understand how you feel because being a two spirit, even in before I knew anything else besides being gay or not gay. That was literally the spectrum that I knew that I was aware of growing up. And I still didn't feel comfortable just because I've always had a very masculine build. I've always had like facial hair. I've always been very muscular. So I never really fit in. So it's like even now being a two spirit is like it's even worse because there really is really no community. If I'm with most in other settings where is there's a lesbian more so grouping, I'm looked at as a guy. If I'm in the trans community, I'm looked at as not being trans. If I'm over here with the straight women or the straight guys, there's still going to be that conflict. So it's like, well, shit, what's going on? I can honestly say, like, the community that I get along the most with are honestly gay men. And I don't know if that was from just from being in drag, but that was like the most welcome part of the community that I did just vibe out with. Everywhere
Mm.
else it was like I can only be so much of me.
Yeah.
Because if I'm even more, then I'm getting a side eye. Like, we don't do that. That's too
Mm.
girly. Oh no, that's too much like a dude. It's like
Yeah.
just me. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just let me be great.
Also, what you eat don't make other people shit. So I don't understand why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my shit. All right
I
there.
mean,
All right.
I think
Apparently it do at times.
apparently so, right? Apparently we have digestion by osmosis or something. I don't know. I don't know. But I think the beautiful thing about and I'm gonna say two things here. One is gonna be nice, and one is not gonna be very nice. But what up, Jalen? Uh, and that's the realness of life right there. Um, I think the beautiful thing that I realized, and while it felt like this was impeding on the process of just existing as who I was or who I am, um, I think the beautiful thing about this process is that as people of queer or trans or queer and trans, like whatever your story is, as people we have this wonderful opportunity where we're already pushing the boundaries. We're already living outside the lines, right? So it
Mhm.
gives us this opportunity, this unique opportunity that I feel like a lot of like cis and heterosexual people do not take advantage of, because a lot of his cis heterosexual people, they live where they supposed to live. Like they born, like if you born a boy and you know what I'm saying, this is what you raised at, and you like girls and you grow up and you get married or you have, kids, or whatever, if you girl, you know what I'm saying? Like you know the story. Everybody knows what the cis heteronormative look is, right? Which has been taken on as what is natural, the right
Mm-hmm.
thing to do. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of our cis brothers and sisters, cis heterosexual brothers and sisters, often get swooped up in that, and they don't, because they are part of the majority, they don't feel like they have to or even need to look at things a little bit closer because they fit in. It's when you don't fit in that you have this natural inclination to just examine everything.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you automatically a little bit more picky, a little bit more uh you inspect things a little bit closer.
Little bit more awareness.
Yes, exactly. That's a great word.
Mm-hmm.
And by the same token, though, it's a lot of the reason that we are all walking around unhealed, because we think because we found somebody that's like us, they're good, or like we're trauma bonding over the fact. And that was one of the things that I said in the very beginning of just understanding that was a move that I was going to make. I said to myself, I said, you will not befriend people just because they are also trans men.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to allow myself to do, and I talked to quite a few people, and then I had to leave them where they stood because I was like, y'all not doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not doing the work, and no judgment. I wasn't fortified enough in my journey to really be able to carry you too. I needed to be around people that were, you know what I mean? Like trying to get their stuff together too. But if you even look around the community, you look around and you see that. You see a lot of people standing out front and standing in leadership positions, and they don't even got this right. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have a lot of choices. We think just because, oh, somebody is like looks like us, okay, and they doing the thing, but we can't forget that a lot of us come from places like where we have been kicked around a lot, that we have been dismissed a lot, like where we have not been able to exist uh just as people, and people recognize us, and when they do see us, they don't see us as who we are. So we're not being affirmed in our lives. That causes a lot of fucking trauma. And then we standing out here like, you know, trying to connect with other people. And are we making genuine connections? Are we connecting because we're genuinely interested in one another, or are we connecting for survival purposes? And I know that's necessary. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. Like sometimes you just, depending on where you at in your life. But are we making the steps to ensure that we're doing more? Are we making the steps to make sure we're going beyond that and taking care of each other and not just getting stuck in this cycle of trauma? You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? This cycle of like living where we're living from this very, emotionally negligent place. You know what I mean?
I will say this. Let me jump in for a moment. I want to, because my thought is sometimes trauma bonding is necessary when it's needed, right? I don't. Whoops, where do we go? Okay, there we go. I feel like I feel like it is there for a reason, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm a strong believer that everything happens for a reason. So I feel like, especially in the beginning, especially with even creating this space here, that uh it was created for those reasons, right? It was kind of like trauma induced in a way, right? But once that trauma is gone is where you find the realness, right? To where now that's when you see like, maybe we really not that good. Like, I didn't realize you smell weird right there. Like, we realize these things about people. Like, you don't brush your teeth as often I thought you did, right? So it's just like, you find these things about your because that blindness, right, is gone because now that you are a little bit more healed, you can see
Right.
better,
Right.
right? So I, I don't know like where I was going with that, but that was my thought on that. Was like you said trauma. And I'm like, yeah, that's the thing, but at the same time, I feel like it is necessary. But again, I'm there too. Like I don't want to befriend everybody because then I kind of fall into like basic training, right?
Right.
We were in this space for 9 weeks and we built these friendships, right? And X, let me ask you, how many friends do you have from basic today? That people that you called your friend doing basic that are still your friends today.
One out of the what 60 people that's up in there. Yeah.
I I think on Facebook I might have maybe three, and I don't talk to them,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Because they were there for the experience in the space. Because we need, as humans, we need that community, that connection,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like that plays a role too when it comes to defining a friend for ourselves, right? Yeah, you were my friend for that moment. But now that we are healed and out of that space, I no longer need you in my life. And that's feel like that's something that we need to like recognize and respect as well. I feel like that just got really deep by accident and I really enjoyed it. So there's that.
It ain't no accident, bro.
Right.
Let me just affirm what you're saying because I want you to. I really want you to understand 100%, and I want
Good.
anybody to understand that I am not disagreeing with you. You are very right in what you say. We have
Mm,
to normalize and knowing what is what though,
mm,
and continuing to dissect that because some of us get into situations. I mean, it not just in this community, but it happens just in general. Like these was my day ones.
mm,
I mean, but day one might not be sufficient on day 31. I'm not saying you just kick everybody to the curb, but what I'm saying is when you're a baby, you eat baby food because it has a certain level of nutrients that you need for your journey. When
mm,
you then become a younger, like a an older person, a toddler, and as you keep going up to a youth and then adolescent into an adulthood, there are going to be different things that you need. And I think that what I'm more focused on is just making sure that we are not stopping at the point of, oh, just because you're trans too. That's
mm,
all I'm saying. I'm not saying that there are not periods that we just need people and they're there for us, and that is a blessing in itself. But I think that we get stuck because we have been through this place in our life, like we haven't had a lot of people that cared about us in a real way. So then we allow people to come in, and then we start pushing the red flags to the side.
yeah.
You know what? Because I love you, because you was down with me when I was down, because you
Mm,
looked out for me when I was down. There's something to give reverence for, but we're not talking about throwing people away, but we are talking about evaluating.
mm,
Oh
mm,
yeah, I definitely agree with you, Chauncey. Like I had to do a lot of assessments of my friendships about 3 years ago when I was just feeling unsettled inside with my relationships. And I realized that this friendship that I had for so many years that I had prided myself on keeping for so long, it was it was codependent, and we didn't handle conflict well when we had conflicts. We weren't great communicators with one another, and like we
mm,
didn't have what I wanted us to have in a friendship anymore. Like it wasn't the same, and I had outgrown it, and I needed to end it, and I did. And so like, while I do still pick and choose my friends from spaces that I feel safer in, it's not just because of identity that I pick those friends. Because I do agree with you that you can't be choosing friends based on just like titles. You got
Yeah,
to choose friends based on character and like common ground, like common goal, common values.
Yeah. And-
Exactly. I agree. It's like I like what you said, like you can't just choose just based off of titles and things like that. It's like I was talking to my fiance earlier, and actually it made me bring up it made me think about this analogy. Like I don't go buy Tim's. Why? Because they don't keep your feet warm. I need something in the wintertime that's gonna keep my feet warm. So if I'm not getting what it is that I need from a friendship or what it is, if we not vibing, if we not clicking, then I need to go to a different pair of shoes because these boots ain't working. I need to switch up. They're not gonna
Mhm.
work out. And then also it's just that level of growth to know that was it Tyler Perry, they say some people are leaves. I forgot what movie it came
Oh
from.
yeah,
And
yeah.
some people are
Yeah.
branches.
Hmm.
And that trauma bonding, it is hard to move out of that because it becomes more of a comfort zone. Because you're like, you need it for a certain amount of time because you're like, okay, I thought I was crazy. I thought I was the only one
Hmm.
going through this. I
Yeah.
felt alone. So then you find that safe space to be able to release
Hmm.
whatever it is that you were holding on to that you couldn't discuss with anybody else because they didn't get it for whatever reason. But then
Yeah.
you do get to a part where it's like, okay, I need to really step fully into me. And a lot of times when you start doing that, sometimes people leave on their own, especially when you start setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Hmm.
start setting boundaries, they're like, oh, I can't continue to do that anymore. Oh, well, no, this ain't gonna work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just being able to take that step back, sometimes that's really all that's needed. I can say personally for me, that's exactly what happened when I started to become more into what it was that I personally need and not just like being the yes person or just letting things slide because I did it a lot, but a lot of time it was just because it ain't worth my energy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
going to give you my energy. That's
Yeah.
priceless.
Yeah.
But
That.
sometimes it takes itself out.
Yeah. Uh, that's one thing that came up that made me think about was everybody talks about codependency when it comes to their romantic relationships, but they don't think about it when it comes to their friendships.
Mm.
That is real right there, right? Like two things that came up, just listening to everybody. That was one, and the second one was we were talking about how people uh don't what don't want to become friends with somebody because they're trans, but there's people out there that won't be friends with you because you're trans too, right? We believe I recently had a conversation with somebody about that. Like I was like, I personally feel more comfortable befriending a trans guy before I'm comfortable befriending a cis guy. And the person that I was talking to was actually the opposite. That he was more comfortable befriending a cis guy more than he was a trans guy. And my reasoning for it was because of, again, kind of similar to what you're saying, don't kind of what you're saying, Chauncey, was just because y'all come from the same similar background, which is true, right? Like, yeah, I want to be friend. I'd rather befriend a trans guy because he's trans and has a similar journey to me than a cis guy. But at the same time, I could do that and still be selective of my new trans male friend,
Right.
right? And as I'm sitting here, I'm having like I could probably still do that with cis guys, but I gotta get over my anxiety to be able to do that, right? But I feel
Right.
like that's a thing too within uh, in community too, and I feel like because the next part I wanted to have, I kind of wanted to talk about like just in general, because the reason why this topic came up for me in general was because I was listening to something there talking about how men in general struggle with having friendships, right? So it was just like if as it has that's made me wonder like has that changed being a trans, like now that we're like openly about ourselves being trans, like do we do we feel like we still have those same struggles as cis friends, cis males, right? Do they like do the struggles like they have, like I'm looking right now, is like societal pressures when it comes to stigma, right? Lack of prioritizing friendship, few opportunities of friendship as we age, discomfort from male to male emotional vulnerability, and loss of friends over time, right? So it's just like how much of that kind of like impacts us as well. And now it's funny because some of this actually has come up as we're talking about our friendships up until this point as well, because we talked about losing friends just in general over time, right? Like we all grow up and just, all go our separate ways, right? And it's like, oh dang, when was the last time I talked to Sue, right? Or something like that, right? So dang, what was my question? So if anybody wants to say anything, feel free while I figure out my question was. Like,
I think it was, do we still have the same struggles?
yeah. Do y'all feel like do you feel like we had those similar struggles through transitioning, or do you feel like it's the same? Because I remember like that's why I was hoping I was hoping somebody else was gonna be here because he was like, you know, I'm not gonna go to the bathroom with you, man. Like, that's something that, not comfortable going like, hey, I gotta go, let's group outing to the bathroom, right? Or like putting lotion on each other's backs, right? Like there's that type of level of intimacy, like, right? So you're like, no, getting those now, like
Okay.
I don't see. Look,
And let me just be clear though. I just want to be clear. I don't really want nobody's hands on me other than the person that I'm intimately engaged with. So this ain't even really just about no another man putting his lotion on my back. Although, no, thank you. But what I'm saying is the thing about it is that
mhm.
for me, it's just I don't want I don't like to be touched, really,
Okay.
honestly. Unless I'm intimately engaged with you, I don't really do a whole lot of, rubbing and caressing on nobody, and I prefer that they did not do the same for me. That's just my that's how I feel. But I mean, as far as like I mean, it all really all comes down to what you comfortable with and how comfortable you are. But the truth of the matter is, as masculine people, we are subject to the same scrutinies, whether people know it or not. Because one of the first
Mhm.
things they be wanting to say is, you know, oh well, and these are other people even in our lives. Well, I mean, you supposed to be masculine. You supposed to be like people have the wrong idea of masculinity. Even people living in masculinity got the wrong idea of actual like divine masculinity, and it's really hurting us. It's hurting us in a lot of cases. Now I don't want you necessarily lotion in my back, but here's what I'm gonna say. If I am in a situation like where I am harmed and I cannot do something for myself and my brother needs to do that, or vice versa, I need to do that for my brother, I have no hesitation. But I still don't want your little calloused ass hands rubbing lotion on my back, please and thank you. I appreciate you. That's just my personal opinion. But when we need each other, I am 100% open to making sure that we are vocal about when we need each other and that we show up when we need each other, whether that's mentally, physically, whatever. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? 100%. And now I feel like that's one of the differences between us and a lot of like cis males because of the way that they're raised. I think that's a plight that a lot of cis males have not been able to navigate through up until this point because of the expectation. I think we still get a little bit of leeway when people know that we're trans because they still have the expectation of, oh, well, you were born in a female body anyway, so it makes sense. But for men who are like cis, like born in anatomically male bodies, certain things don't make sense for them, which are actually human nature. So again, that's a whole nother Oprah.
Yeah.
I had to say when that question came up, I asked. I called my best friend. I was like, "Yo, bro, would you if I needed some suntan lotion, you got me? Yeah, man, I got you." But then again, that's just our friendship.
Yeah.
Like I know the last time we all hung out with her other best friend playing pool, one person go to the bathroom, we all just going.
Mhm.
Whether it's something we got to talk about or crack some jokes on the side, like yo, what's going on over there in that corner? I don't know. It's yeah.
Yeah.
But I know I ain't gonna put no suntan lotion or go to the bathroom with y'all. Don't worry about it. I got you. You need an
Yeah.
ear? I got you. But yeah, I completely agree with what you said. It just depends on your own comfort level. Because do I do
Mhm.
that with everybody? No.
Yeah.
Am I gonna hug on everybody? I'm a hugger. You get a hug from me?
Mhm.
We got a friendship. You pass acquaintance, we got a friendship.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Besides that, uh-uh.
Yeah.
STDs, spiritually transmitted demons. I ain't got time.
People love to be like, oh, I don't shake hands, I hug. Well, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
About to play with
That
you.
part.
All right,
That
Jay.
part.
You putting some translation on somebody's back, like on another man's back, or a
Uh,
friend.
I
Um,
would. My best friend, if he
mm,
needed it and he
yeah.
ain't had nobody else to do it, I don't
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same. Like if
I'm
we
not
on
gonna
the
massage him or nothing, but I'll throw it on,
I'm gonna put it on there, but I ain't gonna rub it in.
yeah, I'm gonna just slap it on there and leave it. Like I'm like, oh.
I'm just saying, like we on a guy's trip and the sun beaming, and somebody already got sunburned a little bit. Like, trying to help them out. You want to just, or you just
let me
want to let
tell you
them
something.
burn.
Let me be
Slow
clear
you
with
down like a baby real quick.
you. If we go on a guy's trip, I'm a Virgo. I didn't even buy suntan lotion. I bought the spray. Let me be very clear about that. Okay? We're not even gonna have to ask that question because I got. Don't you worry about it, baby. We good.
Okay. Okay.
We good
Okay.
on this.
Lord have mercy.
I mean, that's true. I could see that for sure. I could definitely see the alternatives, right, to that. But again, I feel like, uh homosexuality, that view of unmanliness and homosexuality, I feel like plays a part in that, right? Do you think that kind of like affects our viewpoint of that type of vulnerability in like helping each other out in that type of situation? How much effect do you think that has on it? Because like, do you feel like you would have been more comfortable doing that when you were perceived like prior to your transition versus now, or do you think it would have been the same then? Is a question that's not on the paper.
Would we have been more comfortable prior to social and physical transition putting suntan lotion on another masculine body or another man's body?
Masculine presenting person's body.
Nope, not for me.
I, I
Again, for me, it really just goes back to the root of me. I don't like a lot of touch. The most you're gonna get out of me is a hug, and I really like that's intimate for me. You know what I'm saying? That's intimate for me. So just nah.
Yeah. I will say that I actually, because I still feel like I'm a very nurturing person, I would. Right. I'm still would put regardless of the situation, especially, but it also depends on my relationship with you. Like, right. Like if I had, like, if I just met you today, it's not going to happen. Right. But if we have some type of relationship, then yes, I will be, if we're on the beach, the sun beaming down, I'm gonna do it, right? I'm gonna rub it in too. Like it's not, I'm gonna make sure you ain't got you ain't, like, all right. But because to me, it's actually helping. I feel like that's, for me, it's helping somebody,
Yeah,
right? Regardless of their gender. Like if a female asks me, of course. If a guy asks me, of course. Like I'm a helpful person, so I see myself more of helping and caring for a human being,
yeah,
right? That's putting that over societal views of what my sexuality is. I'm taking care of a person, right? So I feel like that, for me, that's where it differs. I'm taking care of somebody that I care about,
Right.
right? So like I feel like that's the difference. Like if a friend was like, "Man, can you go with me to the bathroom?" I'm like, "All right, cool. I can guess I can go wash my hands," right? Like because there might be a reason why he's asking, right? He could feel unsafe in the place that we are in. These are just the thoughts that go through my head in these situations. Like when I heard these questions, these are the thoughts that I had. Was like, would I go to the bathroom with somebody? I'm like, sure, because there's probably a reason why they asked. Maybe they wanted to have a private conversation with me away from wherever we were and didn't feel safe having it, right? So I feel like there's might be a reason behind it because I did the same thing prior to, right? Chicks will ask me all the time to go to the bathroom with me because probably they felt uncomfortable or they wanted to have a conversation, right? So for me in those situations, that's my response and answer to it in those two particular situations. Like just because of who I am and my perspective of it.
Mm.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
100%. I would like to note that for me I think it's a little bit different from a caravan of brothers just going to the bathroom, just everybody get up and go to the bathroom, versus if
Mm,
somebody comes to me and like, yo, can you walk with me over here? Can you go to the bathroom? Because to me that's different. It's
mhm,
the same situation. I mean, it's a different situation, but it highlights a different need. So
mm,
like if we're out together, like and we at Applebee's or Roosters or wherever, I'm not just finna go to the bathroom with y'all. That don't make sense to me. But if
mhm,
you come to me as my brother and is like, and it don't even have to be no big thing, but if you text me and like, yo, can you walk with me right quick? Hell yeah. I'm on it. I'm
yeah,
not asking no questions until after later. But it's a different presentation for me. Like it's a different like it doesn't just happen for me naturally like that. But
yeah,
if you need me, I don't give a damn what it looks like to people. You
mhm,
know what I'm saying? If you're asking me to do something for you as my brother, I got you. None of that makes sense. I mean, none of that matters to me. But on the other hand, I don't just naturally. I look at other guys, especially like other men. I look at them how I look at myself. So like, if I'm in a situation, my focus or my thought around like safety and protection is usually around women and children in the room. Not that I don't care about my brothers, but if we're getting into something, I presume my brothers are going to be alongside of me. We're all going to be protecting the women and children in the room. That is my personal viewpoint. So when I'm out, and maybe this is something that I need to reevaluate within myself, but when I'm out, I don't attend to my brothers the same way I attend to my girl,
mhm,
or other ladies that might be with us, or kids that might be with us. Do you see what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
just this is just the way that I operate, but it doesn't mean that I won't do what I need to do for and by my brother. You know what I'm saying? Or by another brother who is in the space. Um,
mhm,
so yeah, I wanted to note that because to me that's a little bit different. It's not the exact same thing.
yeah, makes sense. Yeah. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to add into this conversation before we wrap it up at all? Any other thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Yes, no, maybe.
So for me, it's the same. I did
Yeah.
the same thing, same now. I'm just a little bit older, a little bit gray. That's still me. A little bit more mature. Got some experience under my belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay, what is I just want to ask you because not telling on nobody age, but I think you like the youngest person on this call in terms of just generation wise.
Mm.
And I guess what I wanted to ask you is knowing what you know now, like where you are right now in your journey of life, what could you offer somebody that was in your beginning position? Like at the age that you were and what you dealt with and how you navigated and all of that, what would you want to offer that person or those people about just navigating into like in this time today?
Yeah, that's a good question. Hmm. I guess what I would offer someone who's going through what I went through at a younger age, um, like through transition, through whatever, just past struggles, um, is what I'm like trying to work on with myself right now in therapy. I think I would offer that it's okay to stand up for yourself and set boundaries with people regardless of who they are to you. Um, and to respect yourself enough to walk away from people who don't respect you for who you are. Yeah.
That's beautiful advice, man. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I feel like that can go for all generations for real though.
Yeah. Regardless of your identity, regardless of
Well,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wherever you are in your life, that is right there for real. Definitely.
But I said that because I feel like sometimes, like when you're younger, especially when you're coming out of when you come out of your parental home or your home of origin, like where you've been like corrected all of your life,
Yeah.
like sometimes you don't, after you done got a little dust on you, you may feel a little bit more comfortable doing those things. But coming out of your home into that early, like them late teens, early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes your conditioning does not tell you that you have that type of autonomy or agency.
Hmm.
And I
Right.
think it's important to hear it from you directly to their ears so that they know, and Chris, you're right, that's for everybody. But as
You
somebody, I didn't know you really closely, Jay, but I've watched you grow, and I'm very proud of what you have accomplished. Just not just in identity, but just in your totality of personhood. Professionally as well. And I mean, I genuinely think you have things to offer. Uh, your journey ain't done, but you certainly have things to offer. Um,
I appreciate you saying all that. That was sweet.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
second I second that as well.
Thank
Because I will say you have come out of your shell a lot since we met you as well.
Absolutely.
you. I'm working on
Somebody
it.
Facebook be popping now.
I'm
For
working
real.
on
Right. And part of it's like, man, it's too. I remember when I first started my journey too. I feel like I wonder how much testosterone takes effect in that too.
it.
That affects our confidence,
Yeah.
right? Because I remember when I first started my journey, somebody I had talked to about it. I was like, "What have you noticed has changed about yourself?" And they're like, "I'm more confident in speaking up for myself."
Mm.
Right, and more confident in my body and my skin, and I didn't know what they meant or understood by that, right, until I saw my own journey, and it actually and with you too, Jay. Like, I remember how quiet and like kind of timid you were when I had first met you. And mind you, I think you had actually started your journey before I did, and but I still seen it, and I was like, okay. Now today, like you running the whole thing, telling people what to do. I'm like, all right, okay, I see you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, definitely, definitely. All right. Does anybody have anything else before we wrap this up at all?
I
No.
just want to thank y'all for having me on. This was a great talk. I really appreciated the conversation. It got deeper than I thought it was. I didn't know what to expect because the questions weren't,
Yeah.
initially there.
Yeah.
Um, but I liked where this went, and yeah, I think y'all are doing great things with this podcast. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And don't forget to I know you got a podcast too. Why don't you tell us about that real quick so we can swing by and see what's up?
Yeah, so I run Mosaic. I'm the program manager of Mosaic, and we have our own podcast called T Chat. It's not on a set schedule, but you can check it out on our Instagram page at Mosaic Ohio. No underscores, no nothing, just all Mosaic, one word, Mosaic Ohio with a Z. You can check out our Reels section, and we have podcasts posted there. It'll also be on Spotify and YouTube soon, but that's in the making. But we cover topics covering like anything ranging from whatever affects trans folks in the world. Like we talk about it all. So check us out.
Copy that.
Okay, that's what's up.
And where can they find you at personally, Jay?
You can follow me on Instagram at bxtch underscore. Well, is it underscore in there? Boy, BOYI, and 2 underscores after that. Let me look at my. Let me
Hold
look.
on. Can you type that out for the people?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
We'll
It's
put a link on our page, too.
BXTCHBOI. It's 2 underscores between H and B.
All right, hold on. Say it one more time so Chris can type it out and put it on the screen. For
Right.
Yeah, BXTCH underscore BOI.
Let's see. How fast I could do this. Copy and paste. Yeah. There it is.
Okay,
There we
okay.
go. Right there.
Y'all don't the double underscore. That's 2 underscores.
Yes. Yes. Again, thank y'all so much for, thank you again, Jay, for joining us. This, I really appreciate it. You come and join us and all the work that you're doing within the community as well. I want to thank everybody for joining us as well. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We even got TikTok popping right now a little bit, I believe. I gotta double check, but we're there too. The TikToks, are we on there? We're also on YouTube. What's that? These faces. We're on YouTube as well, so make sure you check us out there as well. We are here every first Sunday of every month at 6 p.m. Right, so we will be here again in May. We do have our next legal clinic as well. That's going to be held in Dayton on May 4th. So may the 4th be with you as you join us at the legal clinic and at the Dayton LGBT Center. We will again there have the one-on-one talk opportunity to talk to an attorney about your name change and gender marker change in the area and surrounding counties. Just the opportunity to have that space. It is BIPOC focused, but we're not going to kick anybody out. Right, we want everybody to, especially in the time in Ohio. We want to make sure everybody gets those things before Ohio decides that they don't want to allow us to be ourselves, right? And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us, everybody here on the podcast as well. Other than that, that's all I got. Anybody have anything else?
We want to thank you too, Chris.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right. Good night, everybody.
What about your friend?
Amen.
Do. Okay.
Let him cook.